Today's juicy lore takes place among the wondrous weave as we explore the mysterious, maybe misunderstood, goddess of magic, Mystra. Welcome back to Beauty and the Beholder. If it's your first time here, hi, hello, my name is Kiki. I am your lipstick-loving lore historian, and every week we're just gonna hang out, put on some makeup, and talk about D&D lore. So if you like gossiping about fantasy fictional characters, I am your girl. Let's get into it. First things first, who is Mystra? Who is this lady? Mystra is known as the Lady of Mysteries, the Mother of all magic, Mistress of Magic, Our Lady of Spells, Mother of Mystery, Hidden One in Rashomon, Midnight and Mystryl, of course, and apparently in the Forgotten Realms Avatar book series, The Whore and the Harlot, which, mad respect. A woman is called a harlot or a whore by man. I'm immediately intrigued. I'm there. I want to grab lunch with her. Tell me the tea. I know she's got some stories in her. Mystra typically appears as a beautiful human female with dark flowing hair, radiant skin, that is noted in all of her descriptions. So it's important to include she's got good skin and she wants you to know about it. And she always wears simple yet fine, like you can tell it's good quality, silk robes, usually in dark colors like black or blue. And they tend to have these like gold ornamental details, which often symbolize the weave. In earlier depictions, you can see her sporting some like spider motifs, which I thought is cool. But now it's changed, of course, to the like multi-pointed star and the interconnectedness with like the other stars. She can appear as a youthful, innocent girl, a dignified or mature woman, or a stately or regal matron, reflecting the nature of the weave in the moment. So she takes her pick, but usually it's that of a beautiful human woman. Like how we see her when she calls up 𝕮𝖆𝖕𝖗𝖘 to talk to him in Baldur's Gate 3. She also manifests as this like white-blue pulsing glowy light. She can illuminate people or objects, and she can also take the form of a feminine female hand with that same blue glowy light. Oh, I should have done my eyeshadow first. Oh well, oh well. It's fine. We'll be okay. This says it's like foundation and concealer, so we'll see about that. Mystra is the lawful neutral goddess of magic. She oversees magic, spells, and the weave. And if you played Baldur's Gate 3 and gave little Gale to Karios a helping hand, you are probably familiar with the weave by now, because he never stops talking about it. Just kidding, I love Gale. But essentially the weave is like a large network of raw magical energy. It's a force that can be channeled and that casters can pull from when they, cast a spell. Think of it as like magical Wi-Fi, and whenever you're using magic, you're basically like logging on to that Wi-Fi network, if that makes sense. I think this makes like Mystra the chief IT director of the Forgotten Realms. Basically, her role is really, really important. Magic, as we all know, in Dungeons & Dragons is a very big part of the world, and it is her job to keep it in order and make sure everything is running smoothly and the world isn't going to shit. The weave flows through like every corner of existence, with the exception of some dead magic zones here and there, like spots where you might not get 5G or whatever. These dead magic zones are actually what allows for Shar's shadow weave to function. And if you aren't familiar with Shar or the Shadow Weave, definitely check out my videos on Shar and Saloon, because their origin stories, they're kind of like parents to Mystra, so definitely check those videos out and then come back to this one. They are pertinent to her existence and, like I said, parental, basically. So let's jump into her origin story. Let's take it way back, like dawn of time back. Shar and Saloon be fighting. They are going at it, these twin goddesses, these sisters, they're warring, okay? During battle one day, Salune hits a point of desperation. She is like, oh my god, Shar, I can't with you anymore. She takes a piece of her magical essence and she throws it at Shar. It hits Shar, breaks off a piece of Shar, and that magical energy of the two of them then goes on to form our girl Mystra. At this point, she's known as Mystryl. Mystryl is the original version of Mystra. She's the OG, original goddess of magic. Once she comes into existence, she tends to hang out more with you know, Selûne, her mom, who is kind of more good aligned, but Mystryl is technically chaotic neutral. She kind of serves as like a balancing force between Shar and Selûne. Quick breakdown on just like what Mystryl looks like and who she is, but she also takes the form of a beautiful long-haired human female. Got these like intense burning blue eyes, and also would never be caught dead with something off the rack. Mystra, her entire existence, she is slain with the silk fine robes. Again, her skin glows and her hair is like every color of the rainbow, which is really cool. Love an extra queen. She's described as having a chaotic mercurial personality. Her moods changing constantly. Is it just me, or have a lot of these goddesses that we've covered been described this way? Like, oh my gosh, ladies and their varying emotions. That is their entire personality. The idea that they can change emotions. She was flirtatious and profound, flighty and persistent, lighthearted and deadly serious. She can go from innocent to sagely wise, but is always trying to do what is best for the weave. Said that if she had a flaw, it would be that she was a little bit too naive and trusting of others. Let's skedaddle all the way to negative 339 DR. Enter Karsus. Have you heard of him? He's an arch wizard from 𝕮𝖎𝖃. 𝕮𝖎𝖃 is an empire all about magic, and physically it's like made up of these flying enclaves of different cities. They look like flying islands. It's pretty cool. All held up by magic. 𝕮𝖎𝖃 is being threatened by these monsters. These monsters are aberrations called 𝕮𝖕𝖔𝖕𝖗. They're like the classic evil, I want to get rid of anybody who is not us type of villain. Karsus is like, hold my beer, I got this. I've been cooking up just the spell. It's called Karsus's Avatar, and it is the only 12th level spell, if that tells you anything. Now, what does this spell entail? Karsus's Avatar was created to temporarily steal the powers of a deity. It instead then gives it to the spellcaster, and it does so by using a little headpiece called the Crown of Karsus. Just a little accessory. So Karsus has the Crown of Karsus. He's like, yep, let's do this. He decides to take Mystryl's powers, and her godly essence starts pouring into him. And guess what? It's a little too much for him. You can't hold his godly divine essence. He's overwhelmed by the sheer power and realizes he's incapable of wielding it. So what happens to Mystryl during all this? He basically just like took her power, leaving her literally out of power, out of magic. He basically just like pulls the plug. And that means everything involving the weave, everything that Mystryl oversees unravels. Chaos ensues. And Mystryl's like, oh hell no. The only thing that she can do at this point is basically kill herself so that she can break Karsus's connection to the weave and stop anything from getting any worse. So she sacrifices herself, and this kills both Mystryl and Karsus, and stops all magic for a short period of time. And you know 𝕮𝖎𝖃, that floating empire that we were just talking about, it goes kaput. It's gone. Because it was held up by magic. The entire civilization is literally destroyed in moments because of Karsus. Floating cities crash to the ground, and this entire empire is destroyed in moments because of Karsus. This event is remembered as Karsus's folly. So shortly after this, Mystryl reincarnates herself, and she gets a little rebrand, just like a little update. She takes the form of a beautiful human peasant girl. One thing about Mystra, she's like, I'm gonna be beautiful no matter what. She takes the form of a beautiful human peasant girl. She's in her cottagecore era. This girl is just learning the basics of magic, but she showed great potential for becoming a very powerful spellcaster. Now that Mystra is back, bitches, she is like, we're making changes immediately. It's like when one kid in class acts out and the teacher's like, everybody's getting assigned seats. No recess for a month. Extra homework for the rest of the school year because Karsus fucked it up. This new Mystra is more lawful neutral than her chaotic Mystryl version. She's learned a bit. And with these changes that she makes, she implements a lot of rules for magic. She's like, okay, we need to make things clear, set guidelines, a little tutorial, like this is how you're using it from now on. The rules that we have now for spellcasters in D&D is literally a result of this. This makes it so spells require preparation in the morning, and it's limitations on spells that can be memorized per level, etc., etc. Basically, all of the in-game rules that we have for spellcasters is a direct result of this experience. It also makes it so that arcanists can now generalize in magic. They don't have to choose. Before, they had to choose a specific specialty of magic. And this term, arcanists, officially changes to wizards. Oh my god, I'm making such a mess, but you know what? We're gonna trust the process. This is quite a story, so we've got time. Mystra basically invented the wizard class. She just gets to work with all these changes. She also creates the title of Magister, which is like the head magic person at the time, a personal champion of hers. She also promotes 2 mortals to godhood, Azuth and Savras, and these end up kind of being like her assistants, basically. They're like lesser deities, but they help her manage the weave. During this time, she also makes Elminster one of her chosen. I actually believe he is the first of her many chosen. Let's fast forward to 1358 DR. This is when the time of troubles begins. It's not good. Guess who causes the disruption this time? It is Bane and Myrkul, the gods of death, are the ones to cause a mess this time. Bane and Myrkul steal Lord Eo, who's like the god of all gods. They steal his tablets of fate, which I don't know about you, but tablets of fate sounds pretty important. They steal it. Eo's like, okay, this ends here. He decides all gods need to get put back in their place and basically makes them all become mortals. He sends them to live on Earth with all their other followers, but he does give them a heads up. He's like, you know, you have 30 minutes, like, you've got some time, sort it out, it's gonna happen soon. Again, he just like punishes everybody for the actions of 2. The gods are just kind of like funny teachers. I love teachers. Support a teacher. During this time, some mortals ascend to godhood, some gods die. It's like a whole, it's the time of troubles. Mystra is smart about it. She takes a lot of her magical energy, her essence, her magic, she puts it in a nice little pendant. She packs it up and she gives it to one of her followers that she's been keeping an eye on. This follower is a human wizard, 𝕮𝖆𝖈𝖞 𝕬𝖑𝖊𝖗. She's got a cool nickname. 𝕬𝖑𝖈 is favored by Mystra already, and she is kind of being prepped by Mystra to become a magister. So shortly after she does this, Mystra, she gives her pendant to 𝕬𝖈𝖈. After Mystra gives the pendant to 𝕬𝖈𝖈, she suddenly disappears. We don't know where she's at. A teenage girl named Caitlin Moonsong, she asks a group of adventurers, which includes 𝕬𝖈𝖈, Kelemvor, Cyric. She asks them to help her find Mystra. She knows that Mystra has been captured and is currently being tortured by Bane. So not cool, Bane. So not cool. So 𝕬𝖈𝖈's in this group off to rescue Mystra. She helps free Mystra from Bane's clutches, his nasty little grubby paws. Mystra has had it. She is up to here with it. Mystra possesses Caitlin, that teenage girl. She possesses her, takes the pendant back from 𝕬𝖈𝖈, and with her power back, she opens up a gate to the ethereal plane and heads straight for the celestial staircase. Literally like the gates to heaven. When she gets there, it's being guarded by Helm. Helm is a lawful good god, and he is guarding those gates. Mystra heads up there like, I think you made a mistake. I'm on the list. Like, do you know who I am? No, but she's like, I didn't have anything to do with this. I did not steal anything. Why am I being punished for these dumbasses? Which, like, fair. I'd be pissed too. Like, they're literally evil gods of death. What are you expecting? They're not gonna, like, start a charity. They're gonna do messed up shit. Wait. Helm is like, I am sorry. I can't help you. I'm not budging. He's taking his job pretty seriously. He's like, this is what I was told. I follow orders, okay? And denies her of her request to speak to Eo and basically like ask like, hey, like, what's up, my guy? I shouldn't be punished for this. Helm denies her, and Mystra, rightfully so, gets upset. Like, very, very very upset. She is crying these blue, like, flaming tears, and she gets understandably upset. She's just been captured and tortured, and now she's being forced to, like, suffer the consequences for something that she didn't even do. I get it. I would be upset too. I would cry too. So she's crying these, like, blue flaming tears, right? The tears turn into, like, pure, unbridled female rage, and she just starts hurling Helm with all of the power and magic that she's gotten her, and, like, sending blasts of, like, fire, ice. She gets magical, like, hammers and weapons to attack him, and conjures different monsters, and, like, gets fangs and claws on him. It's just like a whole, like, she's going off on him. Which, like I said, I get how she feels, and this is kind of upsetting, you know? So she resorts to violence. As soon as there's, like, a break in her, like, flurry of attacks, Helm just, like, pulls up his visor, and he looks straight at her with the most serious look ever. And it's said that Mystra lets out a horrifying scream that's heard all through the realm. She knows, like, it's real bad. Like, she's not getting it right now. Helm, like, gives her a punch, and remember, Mystra's in Caitlin Moonsong's body at this time. She had possessed her. Caitlin's body, but Mystra, she explodes. It's like a blinding flash of light. Caitlin's gone. When things, you know, settle, Knight's able to retrieve that pendant Mystra had gifted her. But Caitlin is gone. So now Midnight is officially the avatar of Mystra. Midnight isn't the goddess of magic for long, but she does play a very important role during this time of troubles. She ends up being murdered by Cyric, who was one of those adventurers that went along with her to the, you know, the pearly gates. Cyric is also a mortal who steals the powers of the Dead Three. If you played Baldur's Gate 3, you know how that ends. With Midnight's death, the weave collapses, and this rotten arcane energy starts spreading. So, by the way, Cyric was helped by Shar. Petty. And as the weave is collapsing, it's morphing into this, like, rotten arcane energy that's morphing and destroying anything that it touches, causing the spell plague, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just real bad. It's a no good time. It's like trying to bake a cake with an oven that might randomly explode at any time or potentially turns into a mimic. Like, it's not good. 100 years pass after Midnight's death. Elminster is hanging out in the woods. He's in a little cabin, resting, relaxing, covering. He's been up to some stuff. And all of a sudden one day he gets this feeling that Mystra is nearby. Remember, he is one of Mystra's chosen, so he has this, like, pretty deep connection with her. Elminster finds her possessing the form of a bear. Elminster had kind of like a stash of magical items that belonged to Mystra, so this bear was, like, kind of guarding the stash. Mystra possesses this bear and uses it to communicate with Elminster. With this connection, Mystra tells Elminster, like, bring my chosen back. Get me back up and running. So Elminster dedicates himself to resurrecting Mystra. And it does take her about, like, 10 years to fully come back as a goddess, but when she's back, baby, she is back. This Mystra 3.0 she's got, like, a software update. She is a new woman. This Mystra has all of the memories of her past selves, which is different from the previous iterations. She's smarter, wiser than ever, and she knows, like, she wants to keep the weave protected. That is her sole goal. Our current Mistress personality is described as tired, bitter, fed up, which, like, I get it. She's been through a lot. At this point, she's been, like, murdered, I don't know how many times, resurrected, just, like, deal with punishments for, like, stuff she never did, you know, as she was just trying to be good. So yeah, personality, fed up, bitter, just done, real. Everyone has been trying to, like, take her power for over a century, and it's just gotten old. She's over it. It's not fun anymore. What does keep her going these days is the pride that she takes in her power as protector and guardian of the weave. She also appreciates the kindness and respect from her worshippers, who actually like her and don't just want to use her to gain more power. She's just tired of being used. I feel for her. I love Gale, don't get me wrong, but I feel like my opinion of his whole situation changed a lot when I learned more about Mystra's lore. Like, of course, like, she put a bomb in him, yeah, but like, she could have just like gotten rid of him, you know? Like, this man with the heir of a third son. And Thara's words, not mine. Like, can you imagine if he did something like that to 𝕾𝖕𝖆 or Shars? I love him, but like, come on. Now, as for Mystra's symbols and iconography, her symbol is that of a ring of 8 stars surrounding a single starburst shape. It's a beautiful, simple design that just like represents the interconnectedness of the weave. And her other symbol is 7 silver stars surrounding this wave of red mist. Her corresponding animals are blue jays, sparrowhawks, white cats, dogs, donkeys, horses, and mules with blue or mismatched like 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖗 eyes. Associated monsters or creatures are 𝕮𝖆𝖌s, light archons, guardianals, metallic dragons, pseudo-dragons, and Pegasus unicorns, which is the coolest. Her associated gems and stones are rainbow tourmaline, amarantha, belduril, and blue or clear gems of any kind. And her colors are blue and white. Mystra's dogma is all about choice, decision-making, knowledge, and responsibility. You know how the saying goes, great power, great responsibility. Some quotes that I found that really capture her dogma as well are, love magic for itself, not just as a ready weapon to reshape the realms to your will. Learn when not to use your magic, and you will have learned true wisdom. Play with magic and learn how to wield it, but not when the price is paid by others. Remember always that magic is an art, the gift of the lady, and that those who can wield it are privileged in the extreme. Her followers are a diverse bunch, kind of like Selûne's, but one thing, of course, ties everyone together is the love or study of magic. If you love or respect magic, chances are you're, praying to Mystra at least once in a while. Her clergy support her in the protection of the weave and upholding the responsible use of magic. Mystran clergy work hard to preserve magical lore in tucked away libraries, secret stashes, just in case, you never know what might happen in Faerûn. Stuff can get lost, destroyed, etc. And it's super important for them to keep the magic and knowledge intact and accessible for the future. I've been drinking these mocktails. They're pretty good. Her most devout followers are, of course, her chosen, and these are individuals who literally have been chosen by Mystra. She allows them to have a special connection to her, and she also entrusts them with protecting and guarding the weave. As mentioned, Elminster and Gale are chosen of Mystra, as well as the 7 sisters. The 7 sisters are 7 immortal spell-casting daughters of Mystra. Like, they are her daughters and her chosen. It's a long story, but essentially, Mystra possessed this woman, 𝕮𝖆𝖈 who was the wife of a harper ranger, Dornal Silverhand. I guess she took a look at him and was like, you are the perfect specimen of a man. And she chose him. The High Temple of Mystra near the summit of Mount Talath in Halrua was one of the most prominent temples to Mystra. It was one of the largest centers of worship, and it also housed one of the largest libraries in all of Faerûn. There's also the House of Wonder, a mage academy, and temple in Waterdeep. They would actually celebrate Midnight's Ascension at this temple every year, which I think is really nice. I think that's really sweet, and this actually ended up catching on to other temples in Faerûn. As for some rituals, there are 2 rituals that stand out for Mystrans. One is Starflight, and it's what it sounds like. Starflight is both an initiation ritual as well as a wedding ritual. This is where several priests empower the initiate or the couple with magic to fly in the night sky, so long as stars are visible. It just sounds awesome. Like, that is such a beautiful wedding ceremony. Like, can you imagine? That's so cute. In addition to Starflight, Magefire is also another ritual. Magefire is for renewal. And this is where the individual feels like a burning, cleansing, renewing fire throughout their body. With enough clergy involved casting the ritual, it can be used for healing all sorts of ailments, and is considered the most blissful feeling one can know by Mystrans. Is it just me, or I always feel like I need a wing? Oh my gosh. And for funerals, the hymn to the lady is performed. This calls upon visions of fallen of previous Mystran clergy and mages that have also passed. Mystran does have a couple of affiliated orders, starting with the Knights of the Mystic Fire. This is a group of Mystran paladins. They often will accompany clergy or adventurers on quests to, preserve or discover ancient magic. The Church of Mystra also pulls from this paladin order to recruit temple guardians as well. Mystra also has the Sisterhood of the Silver Fire, also known as the Sorority of the Silver Fire. Slay! I wonder what their sorority house looks like. They're actually based out of Baldur's Gate. This is an all-female order of sorceresses, and they operate in secrecy, so whenever they're on missions, it's usually no more than 3 of them. This order only takes humans or half-elves. My guess for that is that because they're secret and, trying to keep appearances, I guess they try to blend in with, the most common faces if they were, I don't know. Their biggest goals were to oppose any cults or factions that could affect Mystra and the Weave. The Children of the Starry Quill are an order of bards, and they're kind of like a news gathering network. They're chit-chatting with the people. They sometimes spread a little propaganda, a little goss, some rumors, some juicy lore. Anything to help improve the Church of Mystra's stance or image on whatever issues coming up. There's also the Order of the Blue Moon. This is kind of like a joint order between Selûne and, I was gonna say Shar, never in a million years, Selûne and Mystra. Selûne and Mystra. Individual members are referred to as Knights of the Blue Moon. This is a group of fighters that was formed during the time of Troubles to defend against Shar and her craziness. And then lastly, the Order of the Shooting Star. All of these names are so nice. I love her aesthetic. The Order of the Shooting Star are rangers dedicated to Mystra, and individual members are called Shooting Stars. How cute is that? Now as for Mystra's relationships, she's got a lot, but her allies are of course Selûne, as well as 𝕲𝖆, and the deities that she basically has as assistants to help her manage the world of magic. Like we covered in last week's 𝕮𝖆𝖈 episode, she's friends with 𝕮𝖆𝖈. They're just friends. I don't think it's a working relationship or anything. I think they're just friends. Just friends. She's also cool with Dogma and 𝕮𝖎𝖈. And when she was Midnight, she was also lovers with 𝕾𝖕𝖆𝖈. She tends to take a lot of her chosen as lovers, like Gale. There was a little situation with 𝕮𝖆𝖈. I read this part of a book as I was researching that was 𝕮𝖆𝖈 had tasted and touched her, and I was like, I want to delete that from my brain. I don't want to picture that at all. Please do not tell me. Anyway, the caveat in the book, the sentence was 𝕮𝖆𝖈 years ago, but still, I was like, Grandpa 𝕮𝖆𝖈. Her main enemies are Shar and 𝕬𝖎, who, that boy 𝕬𝖎, he is no good, no bueno. My phone died. Left, came back. Really quick before we get into the character build and roleplay idea section, I just want to show y'all these 3D printed symbol of mystery earrings I made for myself. One of them to some little gold hoops. They're not perfect, but it was my first 3D print, so I just wanted to have something, I just painted over it with a little acrylic gold paint, but meow. Anyway, as for one of my favorite parts, the character build and roleplay ideas. I know I'm gonna surprise you with this one. Wizard. Yeah, I don't need to explain that one. Cleric with knowledge or light domains would be awesome. Mystra often refers to herself as silver fire, so the light domain I feel can be flavored to fit that. Bard, College of Stars. I believe also College of Lore eloquence, all of that would fit really well. You could do a celestial warlock or a divine soul sorcerer, and an eldritch knight would also work well here. As always, feel free to drop any other class or subclass ideas down too. A couple different avenues that you could take with a Mystra worshipping character is maybe you're a bit of a rebel. You find yourself constrained by all of the rules Mystra has in place. And I don't know, maybe that rebellious streak manifests itself in different ways. There's also that like classic protector of the weave route. Your wizard can be like the Hermione Granger of whatever world you're in. They're well read, curious for knowledge, and looking to learn as much as they can about magic and how to use magic for good or for evil. I feel like that would actually be really exciting as like an archivist or an archaeologist type character who maybe they're trying to like uncover the secrets of the lost empire. Like they're trying to uncover these magical artifacts, and like Indiana Jones, you know, he's like professor but also adventurer. I could see that happening. Or maybe you're a chosen of Mystra. Maybe you're specially skilled in the arcane. How does growing up knowing that you're the best at what you do, how does that affect you as an adult? Does it make you arrogant? Does it make you a little shy and nervous to prove yourself because you feel like you have to uphold this image? Some stuff to play with there. All in all, Mystra's story is long and complicated, but I really appreciate the fact that she is a goddess who takes full responsibility of her domain. She's active and she's invested in Faerun. Her story is a reminder that everything is connected, especially with that impactful story of 𝕮𝖎𝖏. One man's folly literally caused the end of an empire. I don't know, Mystra, Mystryl's knight, Caitlyn, like all these iterations of her. I feel like it really just makes you evaluate what is important. What are the decisions that you as an adventurer or, you know, as an individual, what decisions are you making and how is that affecting the world? I really like Mystra and I respect her as a goddess, you know? If you have played a character associated with Mystra, I would love to hear all about it. And if there is a deity or another D&D lore topic that you want me to cover, drop it in the comments. I've got a running list and every week I'm just gonna knock them off, so keep them coming. For more juicy lore, check out the Beauty and the Beholder playlist. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. So if I do cover your requested topic, you don't miss it. I hope you slay your day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you next week. Ow.